What is going on, Alpha Funders? Hopefully, you are having a marvelous Monday. It is a pretty marvelous day on the markets. We had a nice little gap up. We're not too indifferent currently on the SPY from where we opened. We did gap up. What was it, like 0.3%? Yeah, a little bit over 3%, 0.3%. About a third of a percent of gap up here. And there you kind of go. I mean, that's kind of it. It's kind of been a sideways day. Not really too much kind of going on. I'm going to go quickly through kind of how the markets look because I want to spend some time on where in the heck and why the markets were so bullish over the past year and where I think probably you want to be looking for next opportunities. The Q's nice gap up here. Pretty solid gap up, actually. About 0.5% of a gap up. A little bit more of a pullback, currently down from the open. But nothing crazy. Still up about 0.25% currently. IWM, though, crushed it today. Currently up 1.5%. About a 0.85% gap up there. Nice push in the first hour. And then it was kind of flat after that. Nice little quick pullback there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Sideways, though, after that. So that's kind of the look on the IWM. DIA, nice gap up here as well. Not looking too indifferent from the rest of the markets. RSP up currently about 0.5%. Not quite, but yeah, looking pretty good there. RSP, throw a nice little upper wick there. Kind of mentioned this head and shoulders pattern. Kind of retested into that on Friday. Pushed a little bit higher today, forming a little bit of an upper wick. Honestly, it's kind of hard to say that we're just going to roll over, especially with the SP 500 hitting all-time highs. But it is crazy how concentrated the market is right now. So, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell on the RSP there. DIA, nice pump here over the past couple of days, throwing a nice little upper wick today. All-time highs still again today, looking pretty good. IWM definitely not at all-time highs. There's some, people talking about how much deviation or underperformance the IWM has had from the all-time highs it had, and I mean we're still down roughly about 20% from. Currently about 19.5%. Because we've done pretty well today. But we've never seen that before in market history. So we've never seen that before, where the S&P 500 is hitting an all-time high and the IWM is down 20%. So maybe some opportunities out there in the IWM Russell 2000 world. So Q's, nice continuation higher. Seeing a little bit of some selling on the gap up today. Nice couple days, strong action. Looks pretty good. Nice volume coming in late last week. So, yeah, not looking too bad. SPY also looking pretty good there. All-time highs. Had that breakout on Friday. Nice. A little bit of a gap up. A little bit of a doji coming in today. Okay. Not too bad. And take a look at the S&P 500 here over the past couple of years. You can definitely see that we are just above that previous all-time high from back in the beginning parts of 2022. So, we'll just keep rolling, and then I'll go into kind of some other things. VIX, a little bit of a gap up here. Usually, it's pretty reliable. Get that gap up there on Monday. VIX, a little bit of one, not all that big, not nearly as big as what we had last Tuesday. Last Tuesday we had a monster gap up there on the VIX. DXY, the US dollar index, still kind of consolidating. It looks a little bit like a flag pattern here, kind of setting in. Hasn't broken that 50 EMA, so it definitely might consolidate here. And then as these moving averages come up, might just continue to push higher. GLD, nice little sideways chop today. A little bit of a lower day. I mean, the DXY is flat. DXY is flat. Gold down a little bit. I mean, not a big deal. Not a big move kind of going on there. 10-year yields. I looked at this morning, and we were kind of at the lower end, I guess, of this wick. So I imagine we're probably bouncing off the lows. Yeah, I looked at it about in this area, I guess, this morning. Looking pretty good there on the 10-year yield. Nice bouncing off the lows there. You definitely notice that double bottom there intraday. So it's getting close to that 10 EMA, and that was kind of where, if we are going to have a pullback from that Friday upper wick, maybe we do pull back in that 10 EMA, those moving averages. Also got that previous little high that we had back in January 5th, January 8th kind of area. So, yeah, maybe, yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good right now. Maybe we'll continue higher later this week. 10 to 2 inversion, pulling back a little bit more today. Yeah, nothing crazy going on there. Nothing too unexpected. HYG, a little bit of an upper wick today. Okay. All right. I guess that kind of makes sense. Still just kind of in this consolidation range. Going to be curious to see if we do actually form a pin and pattern here, because right now it's kind of looking that way. So we'll see here over the next couple of days. LQD. Do we have a flag pattern? Kind of had a higher open. It's pulled back ever since. TLT also had a higher open. It's pulled back since. So, okay. Kind of mentioned that actually late last week on Friday about the TLT. Like it's a little bit extended away from the moving averages. You could probably see a little bit of a pop here. Possibly that was today's open. So might have done it all in one open, which is kind of a bummer. 'Cause, I mean, you weren't really even able to trade that. So, okay. So, what has really led the market? Oh, you know what? Let me before I change gears, let me sector performance, since we have some pretty good gaps going on today. Let's take a look at sector performance. So there we go. There we go. Utilities, staples, discretionaries, all underperforming. Materials also underperforming just barely. Energy is kind of in line with the market there. Financials, real estate, communications kind of all just barely outperforming, as well as healthcare. Tech and industrials, the best outperformers on the day. Intraday price action, you got energies, materials, healthcare all outperforming pretty good. Industrials barely outperforming there. Staples, real estate, financials, tech underperforming there after the gap up, right? After the gap up, you can see it definitely was underperforming early on. Communications, discretionaries, and utilities lagging behind there. Okay, so let's talk about some things. Definitely some things that got brought to my attention late last week. You know what might not be bad is starting with looking at sector rotation over the past, since the beginning of 2023. And this is, sector rotation. Let me bring up the VOO real quick. So, this is definitely sector rotation on the S&P 500. VOO is an ETF that tracks meant to mimic the S&P 500. But you can see tech, huge outperformance. Communications, huge outperformance. Discretionaries did have a big outperformance going into the end of the year, but you can see the beginning of this year has not been that, especially here over the past couple trading days. You can see XLK, XLC, tech, and communications really outperforming, and XLY discretionary is not outperforming. And then those were the only three sectors that outperformed over the past year, going back to the beginning of 2023. Industrials, financials, materials, real estate. I mean, everything else is underperformed, but utilities underperformed the most. Energy's been lagging behind here, especially in that Q4 when the market was bullish. Energies was not doing it. You can kind of see is kind of in line with the market there mid-October, and then it just kind of dropped off there pretty good. Financials actually did pretty well. Healthcare, real estate. So all that being said, kind of the area that, I had a lot of people late last week kind of bring up, not a lot of people, but I had some people bring up this China chart, right? And I kind of briefly talked about it last week. And let me get off of that. And since we bottomed, right? I mean, here at the end of October, I mean, this is also when the S&P 500 bottomed. So if I can add in the SPY here, I'll just add in the SPX. There you go. So there's the S&P 500. Now, what's very interesting is we did see Tesla forecasts. Give me a second before I go to individual stocks. But good to see you. Glad you're here. Tesla, man. I have no idea what Tesla's doing today, but yeah, give me a couple minutes, and then we'll look at Tesla and some individual stocks there. So this is China's rapid rise at the end of 2022, right? I think we all knew what was going on. There was a lot of stimulus from China that thought, that was going to end the issues that China was actually having even before then. Before we've had over the previous year, I mean, China was really getting hit pretty hard there, and then that is where it ends, right? We had basically about 2-3 months of bullishness there on China stocks, China market, and then it just stopped and immediately pivoted, and it is one that you can definitely see here, at least on this chart. These 2 days here, this is basically an island reversal right here, because these 2 days are just, you got a gap up, 2 days hang out, and then a gap down, and so we did just have a year of drawdown from that high, not quite a year, but we're coming up on that date, and you can kind of see what's kind of going on with the S&P 500, right? The S&P 500 has remained bullish during that time. Kind of caught a lot of people off guard. I'm imagining a lot of bears caught them off guard. So what really kind of one of the things that I think happened is, while people were pulling equity capital out of China markets, I actually think they were just going to safe havens, which was U.S. markets, especially big tech in the U.S., which, Alphabet, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, all that kind of stuff. So that's where I didn't foresee. I wouldn't have foreseen this. I mean, you don't really know how capital flows are gonna take place. The one thing that really that we haven't really seen, that a lot of the bulls, especially last year, that they kind of talked about, the economy's going to be fine, we'll get back to margin expansion, all that. I mean, we haven't really seen that. We haven't seen companies get back to margin expansion, and I still think we're kind of like in a margin contraction type of marketplace. And I mean, even Alphabet over the past week or two has even talked about more layoffs to come later this year. And one of the few reasons why you're going to look to do that is if you need to keep your margins high. You want to keep your margins higher. So this is one of the reasons why I think the market actually performed much better last year, and it continues to actually perform very well at the beginning of this year, outside of that first week, than what a lot of people thought, including myself. Now, will we eventually roll over on the SP 500? I think we will. Yes, I do think so. But is it going to happen this week or next week? Great question. The only thing that you know with capital flow is it's happening. You can't call it. You can't call it when it ends. Like you don't have that preconceived notion of, okay, this is when it's going to end. You just say, okay, we break this level. I mean, obviously, clearly the reversal is happening, and I don't want to be exposed to it anymore. So this is one of the few things that I would say has helped really the market drive higher. And you can see really just how much we dropped off here on the China stock market here recently, and how much we've pushed higher on the U.S. equities over the previous 2 weeks. I mean, we had a very sharp rise in equities over the previous 2 weeks, and it kind of coincides with, well, China markets dropping off. And if you know anything about China stocks, one of the things I saw was BABA actually is like hugely discounted right now. It's down. I mean, BABA, and I'm sure there's a lot of other Chinese stocks out there that are that have great valuations as well. But this is the one that I heard some people talking about that basically this thing is cheap on a forward growth basis, and it is cheap on a trailing basis. So basically, any metric that you want to look at for BABA, it is cheap. So that and that just kind of goes to tell the current place in the market that we're in right now. People are staying away from China, and they are going with safe havens and what they know, and that's big tech US. Now, that would not be what I would start to do now. I think big tech US, especially probably starting to go into earnings season. I'm not saying go bearish on any big tech US companies because that's where capital flow is going. But I think right now the opportunities are going to start to be in those Chinese tech companies, BABA, maybe Baidu. Baidu's probably also in that same boat. See, Tencent. How do you, Tencent Holdings? Is that it? No. Forget the ticker symbol for Tencent. I do forget the ticker symbol for. There it is. Nope. Let's see. Is it not listed anymore? Maybe it's not listed anymore. It didn't used to be that hard to find. So, anyways, Tencent. I don't know. It might still be out there. It might not be. But there's definitely other ones out there. If you want to look up Chinese stocks, those are probably really good deals right now. And remember, one of the top rules of trading and investing anywhere, whenever other people are fearful, that's when you should be greedy. People are very fearful on Chinese stocks, and it's been very prevalent here over the past couple of months. You can just see how much BABA and some of these are just really dropping off. So that might be some areas where I would look to go, and I would probably stay away just from huge exposure into the big tech, U.S. big tech names. That's just the way I look at it, because yeah, I mean, those are areas where I wouldn't really want to be exposed to. And just looking here at the Europe markets, I mean, it definitely had a pretty good run at the end of last year as well. It's basically kind of up in that area of all-time highs. It looks like a false breakout here recently, where you got above the two highs that it put in back in 2023. It's also this lower end of this consolidation all-time high area. But you got this little head and shoulders. You got a shoulder, head, shoulder, and it's kind of retesting to that neckline right now. So it is a situation that people are going to go to safe havens if they feel like they need to. And China, with being one of the largest markets, largest economies in the world, second largest economy in the world. I don't know if their stock market's the second or third largest in the world, but it's up there. And so that's a lot of capital flows to be coming out over the past year. And where was it going? Most likely big tech US. And that's just kind of where I would be looking to probably go elsewhere now. I would be looking not to be bearish on big tech US, because you never know, I mean, how far the runway is. But I would look to probably be a little bit more exposed to, those China companies that are that they've been hit so hard, massively discounted on basically any valuation metric. BABA, not a bad way to go. Baidu, not a bad way to go. Those are huge, big time companies. And yeah, that's kind of the one where I see it right now. All right, Allie, what you got? You got Tesla All right, we'll start with Tesla. We'll run through big tech. What's going on? South Side. Ooh, dude. So I've been talking about Tesla ever since the beginning of the year. Um, every day we look at this thing, and every day I've basically said the market is ripping it, and Tesla is not. Let me bring up a comparison here of the SPX. So the beginning of the year we did have a drawdown right that first week, but after that you can see the SPX absolutely started upticking. I think that first bullish day you can see Tesla got a little bit of a pump there, and you're like, okay, maybe we're gonna get some pump here going forward with Tesla. The next day, Tesla broke down and made a new yearly low. I mean, it's not saying much, right? I mean, it's over the previous like couple of trading days, but that was kind of a wake up moment of like, ooh, this could be bad because Tesla failed the bounce and the market wasn't. And then you see the next couple of trading days. Let me zoom in here a little bit. You see the next couple of trading days, we were just kind of flat there on the SP 500. We were just kind of consolidating, and you can see here Tesla just continued to roll down, and then it was this day right here. This day was super important because one, we had two lower wicks, right? That January 9th, January 10th, massive buy zone. Also had lower wicks there from before, all going all the way back to November 17th, December 13th, and then the next day, January 11th, we gapped below those 2 days, and then we traded lower. We took out both of those lower wicks from November, December, and that was like, oh yeah, Tesla's in danger. Where does it go now? I mean, obviously, I'm going to stick with probably what I said last week. You're probably just looking for the move back down to here. I don't really know if you would want to play it like either you're into it bearish or not. Most likely, you're just looking for this level to come back down to there. And let me get off of SP 500 down to about the mid 190s where this low was, and you're looking for a bounce off of that, and maybe you get a setup bearish or something like that. But I wouldn't want to be buying into this. I wouldn't want to be getting bullish or anything. Another thing, let me quickly put this up here. So this is going back a couple of years, right? We got declining highs coming in. Saw someone post this. This was actually very, very good look here. So you kind of had a little bit of a rising low kind of coming in. It broke that, and then it made a lower high after this. Let me just put that there. You see, like we broke that down, but we bounced where we previously kind of consolidated here in November. We previously consolidated there back in early 23. We bounced, but we made that lower high along with that trend line, and like that was a great bearish spot. I kind of thought we were going to roll over bearish here, but we had a couple of days bounce that didn't really do too much, and then it rolled over. So, yeah, it doesn't look good for Tesla. Whenever a company or a stock, not a company, but whenever a stock is performing not with the market, and it has no reason to perform with it, it's not good. It's just not good. Like most stocks perform with the market. That's why the market's the market. So when you get a stock that does not perform with the market, that is not good. So, anyways, yeah, this is. You're probably just looking for it to come down to like mid 190s, looking for a bounce there because this is going to be a pretty hefty move all in one go here without any kind of major consolidations here over the past couple of weeks. And so I'd imagine you're probably going to get some kind of bounce here at mid 190s. If it winds up just making a run through this mid 190s, you're probably going to look for the next time it gets bullish into that mid 190s to 200, and you're just going to slam that bearish, and you're just going to take that to the house because it's going to be a breakdown. If it does basically this, if it does that, you're just going to slam that right back down. So that would be the way I would look to play it. There's not really, it just doesn't look good. And this is the market hasn't even gotten bearish, right? Over the past couple of weeks, the market hasn't even been bearish. The market's still up today, and this thing is down 2.5%. I mean, could you imagine what happens when the S&P 500 and the Qs roll over 0.5% negative on a day? I mean, this thing's gonna be down like 5% easy. I mean, maybe not. Just depends. But I mean, this is not a good looking stock chart. It hasn't been looking all that good over the course of this year. Even if you look at this lower trend line high through there, and we went through it, and maybe you were thinking we'll consolidate in here and then push higher, and it didn't even happen. So yeah, Tesla's just not looking good. Allie, is great question though. Earnings are Wednesday. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Is earnings are Wednesday. I don't think margins are going to be good. If they haven't been good over the past year for earnings here on Tesla. So I'm not one to say I want to play this on earnings, and it might be one of those things that, hey, you know what? I want to see what earnings come in at on Tesla. I want to see what the reaction is on earnings, because they might say that, hey, we're having very strong Cybertruck demand. I mean, they might say that, and maybe we do get a gap up. I would imagine just about any gap up is going to be met with sellers. Just about any gap up is going to be met with sellers. Unless this thing gaps up over here 29%, which that ain't happening. What did it do to the past couple earnings? Let's see. Pretty good gap down. Pretty good gap down. A little bit of a gap up back, a year ago. Hold on. Gap down. Oh, yeah, a little bit of a gap down. I missed this one. Gap down. So the past 3 times it's had earnings is gap down. So if we get down tomorrow, maybe we get down to like 200, and then it gaps down below 190. Yeah, actually that'd be a pretty good way to play it. If it trades down to 200 tomorrow, it gaps down to below the mid 190s, maybe it gets down to like 190 or less into the 180s. I would look for the retest up into the mid 190s, maybe 200 area, depending on maybe where we end tomorrow. We'll probably talk about it tomorrow as well. And then maybe take that bearish, because that might happen all in one day, because that's going to be a heck of a move here over the past couple of weeks. And if we do gap down, I'd imagine people probably lock in profits that have been short this thing over the past couple of weeks. And it'll probably quickly buy up, but it might fade then the rest of the day. So, yeah, it probably depends on, maybe where we trade to tomorrow. That's a great point, though. Earnings, I don't know what they would have to say to make the stock stop dropping. Like Cybertruck deliveries are like at 1 million. I have no idea. Mostly just over the past year, they just had margin contractions, and and we knew that at the end of 22, during that December drop, that was the issue, was margin contractions. That was when they basically were rumored to be having the first price drops, and then in January, when they finally made it official, price drops. Well, the market went bullish because, that means more vehicle sales. Yes, but that means a drop in margins, and that's why every time thereafter when they announced earnings, they had declining margins. So I don't think that trend breaks. I think the declining margins are going to be the story here. I think it's going to be a problem going forward. But I like the company, and I like what they're trying to do. It's just the stock itself just does not look good at all. Anyways, let's run through the big tech stuff. I cleaned up my stock chart over the weekend. Had some options expire that moved off. So finally. So AAPL, ever since it's got its upgrade, early Thursday morning has absolutely screamed higher basically every day, up 1.5% today. Looking pretty good. This is another one that was really not looking well up until the past 3 trading days for the beginning of the year, as the SP 500 was doing pretty good outside of that first week. But AAPL was also not doing well that first week. But after that, AAPL wasn't really doing well either. So, but looking pretty good today. All right. Microsofty. Let me know if there's any other things that you guys want to talk about. Microsoft's actually down 0.4%. It did gap up. Quickly got sold off first 45 minutes. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Microsoft looking okay. Alphabet throwing a pretty large upper wick today. Okay. So we're seeing some selling in the big tech area. Gap up, quick push, kind of a double top, rolled over. Okay. Let's see. Meta. Oh, is that all-time highs on Meta again? So we had all-time highs on Meta Friday, barely. Yes, it is. But that is clearly all-time highs today on a pretty large gap up there. Let's see, how much did they gap up? Gapped up a little bit over 1%, but it has faded basically throughout the day. Meta. So we're seeing some big tech companies with some reversal signs. All right, Amazon. Also had a pretty good gap up. Didn't take out the high from what day was this? Let's see. Did it? It did not. It did not take out that high. So it did not take out the high from January 11th, that Doji day. But I mean, nice gap up, and it has, I mean, quickly sold off on the open, faded down throughout the day. And then we already looked at TSLA, so let's run through big tech. Nvidia continuing higher, of course. Why not? Nvidia continuing higher, up at 600 bones, man. Jeez, Nvidia doing well. AMD. Is this all-time highs for AMD? Yes, it is. AMD hitting all-time highs. Give me a second, actually. Yep, AMD hitting all-time highs. So there you go. AMD looking pretty good. I'm going to move this to right there. I like that. Okay. AMD, all-time highs. Not really a big gap up, but definitely got sold off in the open. Yeah, very strong sell-off there on the open. Intel, nice gap up. Came back down. Intel looks like it might continue higher. It'd be very interesting to see what Intel does tomorrow. Right on top of those moving averages, just right above them. Okay, AVGO. Dude, AVGO had a day on Friday. Just crush City, up 6% that day. Not doing a lot today. Currently up 1% at $1,223. Man, it is crazy. What else is out there? Micron continuing. Micron throwing an upper wick. This is not all-time highs for Micron. I know that. Getting close, but definitely not. And then Qualcomm. How's Qualcomm doing? Qualcomm throwing a nice little upper wick there. It seems like a lot of people are locking in profits on the days moving on semiconductors. That kind of is what it seems like. All right. What was the other company I was just thinking of, man? I was just thinking of a company That's name is TSM. That's what I was. I knew it wasn't an SP500. TSM. So TSM had great earnings. This is one reason why semiconductors were crushing it at the end of last week. There you go. TSM, world's largest semiconductor manufacturing company. All right. There's a lot of profit taking going on in semiconductor stocks today. Which, I mean, makes a lot of sense. I mean, they crushed it here the past couple of days. All right, what else is getting hit out there? Yeah, we know semiconductors. Booking. Booking.com. Booking.yeah. Nice gap up, has faded all day, down 3.7%. That thing got sold off. Wow. I mean, when you have a gap up and you get sold off and you're down over 3.5%, that's a bad day. That's I would expect some more selling to come in over the next couple of days. Just kind of looking at their previous stock performance, you got some selling, like you had a pretty large run there. Some selling. I'm just looking at like big down days at peaks. Had a pretty good drop there. So yeah, I would imagine we see some selling to come in on Booking for the next few days. Disney's up over 2%. Oh man, look at that thing. Gosh, down here was such a great buy. UNH. I'm gonna check UNH because this weighs hugely on this the DIA. And interesting. UNH has not performed that well this year. But I say that because the DIA's actually been okay. I mean, it might be Apple and Microsoft has helped out the DIA a lot to kind of offset UNH. All right. Let me know if there's anything else you guys want to take a look at. But for the most part, I think I'm kind of good. What is this down 10%, 11%? Gilead Sciences. What the heck? Update. Gilead Sciences says phase 3 trial of in lung cancer. I don't know what. Yeah, Trade Ivy in lung cancer didn't meet primary goal. Okay, there you go. Pharmaceuticals, man, or biotech, pharmaceuticals, all about the same thing. Other than that, I think that's probably some of the bigger stuff of the day. What is this? Carnival Cruise Lines not looking all that great. Oh, come on. So a lot of the transportation, like consume well, I'd say consumer transport type stuff, consumer entertainment transport stuff, like CCL, RCL not looking too great. Las Vegas Sands, the gaming area, traveling Expedia, not looking well. Obviously, Booking's not looking well. Wynn, Norwegian Cruise Lines as well. Caesars. Yeah, so they're all doing kind of rough. Where is transports? Good grief, man. Just click the transport thing. Oh, let's go check freight. Oh, let's go check freight. These guys look good. Uber looking pretty good. United Airlines. I'm sorry, Uber not looking all that great. United Airlines not looking all that great. But Expedia, no, that's not Expedia. That's Explorers. I think that's like a transport freight company. Airlines look all right. Oh, let's run through these guys. Let's run through NSC. Some of these freight transport peeps. So NSC looking pretty good. Nice gap up here. Bernstein upgrades. Norfolk Southern to outperform from market performance. There you go. NSC looking pretty good. Got an upgrade today. The reason why I was wanting to look through these because I knew they had a lot of earnings coming up this week for these guys. UNP also got an upgrades. UNP also I can see it kind of right here. Bernstein upgrades. Union Pacific. Okay, so that's another one, and then CSX. Doesn't look like it got an upgrade, but it did pretty good back in November to December. Okay. So rail's not looking too bad. JBHT, JB Hunt. Benchmark raises JB Hunt Transport Services price target to 215. Keeps buy rating. So there you go. Got another upgrade there on another transport stock. JB Hunt. ODFL probably got an upgrade today. Seems like they did a lot of upgrades in the transport area. Yep, Stifle got a transport upgraded ODFL today. And FedEx doesn't look like it got an upgrade today. Just performed pretty good from the sector. A lot of things in the sector getting upgraded today. UPS doing pretty good today, up 1%. So, all right. So, a lot of things in the transportation sector getting upgraded today. Not everything, but looking all right. RSP up about 0.5%. Q's up up about 0.2%. So is the SPY, and that's where we'll leave it. So we'll see what happens. Honestly, capital flows coming in from dangerous markets around the world is probably what's just continuing to drive the SP 500 higher, and that's really about it. Probably nothing you can do until you see the market kind of turn from major kind of levels. Right now, I think this cluster here that we put in over the past month, over the previous month here from mid-December to basically, mid-January, if we get below this cluster, then we'll probably be looking to turn over and go lower. You never know when it's going to end, so just ride it. And you can, just ride it until it looks like we turn. Other than that, Alpha Hunters, y'all, have a great rest of your day. Take care, and we will see what happens tomorrow. Alrighty, take care, Alpha Hunters.